Hey, quickly before the video starts, if you enjoyed this, please like and sub and share it around. Thank you, and back to the video.
Okay. In the past few days, however, dangerously destabilizing precedent for the future.
The United States of America, the land that was founded in 1776 based upon the ideals of freedom to all, away from the oppressive empires of Europe. This ideal land had a lot of appeal to the people of the old world, especially now. However, this freedom was a promise half fulfilled. Only people who were deemed worthy had power, excluding many from that freedom. This paradox has created turmoil in the young nation, past and present, now more than ever, as the USA is the last safeguard to the tyranny that presses on the throat of Europe, Asia, and Africa. The United States initially didn't want to join the war, but fate decided for them. After the attack at Pearl Harbor, America tasted blood and wanted more. Even though they were late to save Europe, there was still a chance for the Pacific to be free. But that dream burnt alive in the atomic fire of Pearl Harbor. America had realized it was all over and sat at the table with the devil. The Americans signed the Akagi Accords and submitted to this new world order. The chaos of the defeat led to 5 candidates for the 1948 election, with the vote having to go to the House as there was no clear winner, leading to Thomas Dewey becoming the 34th President of the United States. The Democratic Party was ruined after the war, as people saw them as the party that not only failed the nation, but the free world. Seeing the possibility of falling to irrelevancy and dissolving, the Democratic Party did something that was unseen in American politics. In 1951, they asked the Republican Party to merge, to create stability in the nation. By the narrowest vote, the two parties merged into the Republican Democrat Party. However, this wasn't the only new party in town. The National Progressive Front was founded in 1947 by Henry A. Wallace and Glenn Taylor, and in 1951, George S. Patton formed the Patriotic Party. Both parties gained states in the 1952 election, but the victory going to was Dwight D. Eisenhower, who became a bit of a legend after his defense of the British Isles, helping him to also win the 56th election. In 1960, President Eisenhower tore up the Akagi Accords and oversaw statehood given to Hawaii, which upset the Japanese, who still had military occupation of the island. Seeing them lose again, the National Progressive Front and the Patriotic Party merged to create a party with wide variations of political ideology, from democratic socialists to social democrats to Dixiecrats and fascists. Anything that challenged the status quo was good. So in 1957, the National Progressive Party was born, seeing many old Democrats move in. And in 1960, following the most one-sided election in American history, Richard Nixon was sworn in as president, and the vice presidentship went to John F. Kennedy. The National Progressives knew something had to change to come close to challenging the Republican Democrats. In January 1962, the Japanese placed missiles on the islands of Hawaii, which American spy planes detected and was an obvious response to the Americans giving statehood to Hawaii, starting the Hawaiian missile crisis. This left the west coast under danger of the Japanese. Seeing this, Vice President Kennedy led talks with Japanese Prime Minister Ino. Seeing the conflict diffused, which gave praise to the Vice President and backlash to the President. America leads the Organization of Free Nations to counterbalance the fascists, such as Canada, Australia, New Zealand, the West Indies Federation, the Republic of Brazil, Iceland, and the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, being all members in the effort to keep democracy and Western influence alive and ready to strike if attacked. The United States and the UN have little time dealing with the Reich, and their relationship has been tense ever since the Reich nuked the US. Nixon follows the plan of containment of the fascist powers, leading to the US and OFN-led operations to help resistance and separation movements, anything to weaken the Reich globally, and without leading back to them. The same goes with the Japanese and their co-prosperity sphere. Hold on to parts or all of Los Angeles, San Francisco, Hawaii, and other islands in the Pacific once belonging to the US, leaving a bad taste in most Americans' mouths. So the United States waits and sees if any opportunity shows up for them to exploit as tensions rise in Africa. So does the interest of the United States, as South Africa plays a tightrope between the US and the Reich's puppets. However, the Reich is showing cracks as the Führer slowly comes to time, and the United States is aiding in any way to make those cracks a little bigger. The Japanese are slowly losing their grasp on Asia, as America watches them like a tiger in tall grass, waiting. Their relationship with Italy and the Triumvirate is a lot warmer, seeing them as possible allies against the Reich and the Empire. However, it would be a lie to say that the good old USA was fine at home, with discrimination still being a scar on the nation, and many wanting this freedom in the nation who proclaims to be the freest in the world. This situation has created tension in the nation, along with the rise of fascism in the country, as many point out how fascism has led to the defeat of the weak democracies of old, and many wanting to see the US follow the rest of the world as well. Some of the OFN nations are little more than military bases for the US, such as the Republic of Guyana and the Icelandic occupied zone, creating tension in the native population who would like the Americans to leave and let them have their own say, which is especially the case for Guyana as well. The Germans and the Japanese are doing what they can to create tension and instability within the US and its allies, with CIA reports even stating that one of the potential candidates for the Führership wants to make a Reichskommissariat out of the US, but with all things, time will tell. Will you choose to keep Nixon in power, or will you intervene to bring democracy back to the world, or will you take a different path? Or will none of this all matter as the missiles launch to make the first and final move of the Third World War? All of this is up to you. Choose wisely, or doom us all.